Have you ever wondered why some women ignore you without even knowing you? You walk into a room and feel like no one notices you. They glance at you once, then look away, and you start to think the problem is your face or your height. But that's not all. What most men don't realize is that there's something invisible, yet brutally real, that's constantly being perceived. They don't just smell your scent, they feel your energy. And when you live in a cycle of masturbation, pornography, and easy pleasures, that energy becomes corrupted, and they feel it. Your presence betrays your vices, even if you don't say anything. And there's no point in feigning confidence. If you're feeling internally exhausted, this video will explain why. You'll recognize the link between your silent addiction and the loss of your male attraction. Plus, you'll discover how to transform that energy and regain the presence of a powerful man. Stay until the end, because what you learn here can change the way the world reacts to you without you having to say a word. Even before you open your mouth, smile, greet, or look her in the eye, she's already sensed everything. She's sensed who you are, or at least what you are. Women have a perception that transcends logic. They perceive the atmosphere, the landscape, the air surrounding a person. It's as if their body were a radar, listening for what's unsaid, and therein lies their problem. Most men believe that attractiveness lies in hair, muscles, clothes, and money. But all of these are secondary. What matters most is appearance, and presence is born from energy, and energy comes from within. But from where exactly? Carl Jung said that any repressed energy creates psychic tension, and this tension determines how the world perceives us. A man who hides his weakness behind strong words possesses a charisma that contradicts everything he says. He is like stale perfume. He tries to cover up the smell, but the sour odor persists. Energy doesn't lie. And what's contaminating the energy of many men today is a silent but devastating addiction. Compulsive masturbation. Pornography poisons the eye. Frequent masturbation exerts vital pressure, and together they change your fundamental vibration, the one women perceive at first glance. You can train your voice, your body, and your style, but when your energy levels decrease, when you're internally exhausted, your body reacts before you even consciously notice it. You won't be able to explain it. It will simply withdraw into itself, because something inside her makes her feel like this man has no power. Not the kind that matters, not the kind that protects. It's not force that guides. The presence of a man who preserves his energy is different. It's dense, solid, almost magnetic. You don't need to force anything, because you carry creative attention within you, a sacred reserve that isn't wasted by screens, addictions, or fantasies. And the strangest thing is that this change isn't visible to the naked eye. You can feel it even in the countryside. Have you ever noticed how some men enter a room and the air seems to change, as if time slows down for a moment, as if everyone notices it, without knowing why? Because it's complete. His energy is focused. He does not disperse it among 1,000 desires. He does not seek recognition. It's simple. And this being possesses weight, presence, and stillness. Thus, those who begin to protect their energy not only change their inner lives, but also perceive themselves differently. Your height, charm, or beauty don't matter. What matters is the energy field you carry within you. And this field is beginning to form deep within you, when no one is watching, when you decide to stop touching yourself. When you decide to control yourself, the journey begins here, and from now on you will never be the same. It all starts with a thought. Most men believe that their appearance is defined by their actions, the way they speak, walk, and dress. But the truth is deeper and more dangerous. Your presence is defined by the frequency of your thoughts. And if your thoughts are dominated by sex, your presence will be too. No matter how hard you try to hide it, the mind, which always sexualizes everything, becomes a field of desire, a field that screams at the touch of the feminine even in silence. And she feels it. She may not understand why, but she feels a certain restlessness, a feeling of restlessness, as if something were trying to invade me, as if a desire were trying to take over. Because that's just the way it is. Men who feed their minds with pornographic images, fantasies, and compulsive masturbation can no longer control their appearance, or their breathing, nor how they are present. They are not there, they are elsewhere. They are fragmented. They are addicted to what they don't have, trapped in a cycle of absence. And do you know what feminine energy craves most? a true presence. Not a man who watches over her like a predator, but a man who surrounds her with stability, a complete man, rooted, centered. But if your mind has been sexualized for years, you've already lost it. Your energy is contaminated, not visibly but vibrationally. Carl Jung said that everything unconscious manifests as destiny, and men who don't consciously shape their sexuality suffer the same fate: rejection, confusion, loneliness. They don't realize they're picking up the frequency they've been broadcasting for months. The women aren't rejecting their bodies, but the way addiction has warped their souls, because the sexualized mind doesn't see a woman. It sees an object. It sees a source of pleasure, and that vision shapes your attitude, your energy, your voice, and she feels it. First of all, the good news is that it's reversible. But first, you have to understand that it's not just about stopping masturbating. It's about reprogramming your brain. It's about removing sex from the center of your life. It's about overcoming addiction to ideas, desires, and fantasies, and it begins to generate energy instead of wasting it. When your mind stops constantly seeking pleasure, it becomes calmer, deeper, and more centered. And the woman feels it too. She feels she is in the presence of a man who fulfills her and doesn't need her. A man who desires her not out of desperation, but when he desires of his own free will and not out of addiction. This is the beginning of the transformation, the beginning of a true masculine presence. The sexualized mind is a ruined body, but the purified mind is a temple of strength. Have you ever taken the time to observe what you feel afterward? After another session of solitary pleasure, after watching the same type of video, after repeating the same gesture, it releases the same energy into the void. Relief in the first few seconds, emptiness in the minutes that follow, and in the days that followed, weakness. But it's a weakness you don't see in the mirror. You only notice it in people's reactions, in your annoyance with everything, in your lack of focus, in the way the world seems to no longer notice you. What's happening is very simple. You've wasted your most sacred energy for nothing, without purpose. There is no creation. There is no presence. And the body feels, the mind feels, and yes, women feel. Because a man who masturbates compulsively loses his missionary energy. He no longer has direction. He no longer has creative tension. He becomes passive, distracted, lacking wit. Carl Jung said that sexual desire is not just biological. It's symbolic. It represents the quest for wholeness, the unification of opposites, by merging with the divine. But when this desire transforms into soulless pleasure, it becomes poison. And this poison spreads throughout a person's energy field. Constant masturbation weakens the soul's center of gravity. One loses one's firmness, less clumsy, less trustworthy. And the woman perceives him as a wild animal who senses weakness in others. She can't explain it, but she knows she can't trust this man. And she's not the only one who feels this way. That's the way the world is. Doors don't open. Opportunities don't present themselves. Friendships don't deepen. Everything seems superficial. Because you are superficial. The life energy that should guide you toward your mission is wasted. Every day on useless orgasms. You are not transforming yourself. They flee. And things that flee don't attract each other. They repel each other. Because the world respects the man who holds, who protects, who channels. And it has nothing to do with oppression. It's more about domination, about control. With creative tension, when you stop masturbating, something strange happens. At first, everything seems more difficult. But then his voice changes. His gaze changes. His gait changes. You begin to walk with a different weight. Not a burden, but a presence. And it is this presence that women feel. Not the beauty of the face, but the power of the energy, the density of the soul, the tension accumulated by those who can, but you choose not to waste it. He's the kind of man who doesn't beg for love. He doesn't chase it, because he knows it. The field attracts what it radiates, and when we stop touching ourselves, we stop looking outside for what can only emerge inside. We stop begging for attention, and he becomes a respect magnet. He has no idea. He hasn't studied quantum physics. You've never heard of electromagnetic fields. You don't know the terms you read in books, but you know them. They know when a man's energy is strong and when it is weak. Not rationally, but instinctively, because the female body carries within it a kind of ancestral intelligence, Ancient, instinctive, no need to think. You feel, and this feeling is quick. It's almost invisible, but it's real. That's why we're sometimes close to a woman. Everything seems fine. And suddenly she's gone. You didn't say anything wrong. He hadn't done anything wrong, but his energy spoke volumes. His body heard what his soul couldn't hide. And you know what he heard? He heard it. I have no control. He heard it. I need pleasure. You heard it. Look at me, affirm me, desire me, he listened. I'm not my own boss. And no matter how hard you try to hide it with words, smiles or compliments, she senses that pent-up despair, uncontrolled desire, lack of control. Carl Jung said that whatever is repressed in the subconscious emerges through behavior, and behavior is not just a gesture. It is a field. It is a presence. It's the invisible atmosphere we carry within us when we enter a place. And women, especially the most intuitive ones, perceive this field as if they were breathing. They don't think about it. They simply react. They don't make rational decisions. They simply know. This is why you can be beautiful, intelligent, and even successful, yet still be ignored, because your energy says, I am needed. And the need is repugnant. But there's another side. The man who walks into a room and has nothing to say. She looks, and something awakens within her. A warning, a recognition, a curiosity he can't explain. It's as if his body is telling him there is power, but not aggressive power. It is a serene, present, dense, and magnetic force. And where does this power come from? From the silence of the soul, from the fire that burns but not in public, contained and transmuted sexual energy, now transformed into presence, direction, coherence. This man has nothing to prove. He has already won the biggest war, the internal war. She controls her impulses. That's why her energy is stable. She feels it, even without understanding it, even without knowing why. And that's why he's approaching, because the feminine offers no resistance to the masculine, which holds it back. This type of energy doesn't shout. It silently attracts it. And the amazing thing is, you don't choose it. It's your energy that speaks before you decide. And if she senses someone is there, she will come. Not because you seduced her, but because your energy invited her. Those who control themselves remain silent. Not because they don't know what to say, but because they have learned that true power requires no explanation. He doesn't try to impress. He doesn't talk too much. He doesn't seek validation. He conserves his energy, even when speaking, and that's rare, extremely rare. Because most men chatter incessantly to hide their emptiness. They try to fill the silence with words, jokes, and compliments. What's missing above all is presence. Constant masturbation deprives you of it. It transforms a man into a restless being, restless mind, anxious language, the need to be noticed. It was as if he was always trying to repair something he had lost inside. And he succeeded. It was his life force. It was his constancy. It was his root. Carl Jung said that true psychic power lies in the integration of opposites, not in denial, but in balance. And that includes sex. A person who embraces their desires instead of letting them dominate flourishes. And this type of person doesn't need to shout. They shine. If you stay silent long enough, you'll notice something strange. Your silence intensifies. People listen to you better when you talk less. His words gain power. They now have soul. They do not come from a man who speaks to be seen, but from someone who has already seen himself. It is the silence of a man who no longer masturbates, or rather of a man who has stopped doing so, because he understood that instant gratification wasn't worth sacrificing for his heart. He traded the pleasure of a few seconds for the building of a solid aura. And it's this stillness that women notice most. This is not the silence of the timid. It is that of the reserved. It is like the sheathed sword of a warrior who knows how to fight, but is not obliged to do so. It is like a fire that burns in secret, but does not consume. It is like thunder that is not heard, but is in the air. That man does not follow it. She doesn't chase after someone, because she knows that true attraction is born silently. When a woman feels she's in front of someone who desires her not out of necessity, but with a specific purpose, he doesn't crave contact. He feeds with intention. He's in no hurry, because he has a sure step. He doesn't boast, because his energy speaks for itself. This silence is the opposite of masturbation, because addiction resonates internally, even secretly it screams in the soul. It satisfies me, it fulfills me, it relieves my stress. But the man who controls himself reacts, I don't need it right now. I am bigger than that. And this realm, invisible in itself, transforms everything. It evolves differently, breathe differently, see differently. Not because you've learned a technique, but because you've returned to your own temple. And in this temple, silence is not an absence. It is a sublime presence. Something is changing, but not under applause, not under fireworks. Real change happens in the dark, in the silence, in the repetition. It starts when no one sees you, and it shows up when you least expect it. You realize then that you're no longer demanding attention. You don't think about her anymore. You don't try to prove yourself anymore, because something inside you has calmed down. It's like your soul has returned to your body, and now the world notices. You walk into a room and people notice you, not because of its volume, but because of its weight. And this weight is not physical, but energetic. You have gone weeks, even months, without wasting your vital energy. You fought the sexualized mind. You resisted the easy way out. You faced your shadow. And now something has changed. His voice is firmer. His gaze is more direct. Their bodies are more alive. And women feel it, men too. Everyone feels it, even if they don't know why. Because you've regained your composure. What you think, feel, say, and do is ultimately in harmony. And this harmony has an inimitable power. It is the result of an inner struggle, of discipline, of resurrection. Carl Jung said that true individuation, the process of becoming oneself, requires confronting the unconscious, with hidden desires, with primal urges. And you faced them. You didn't deny them. You integrated them. You stopped running away from yourself. And it's weird. The world is full of empty people, people who live to be entertained, to soothe you, to put you to sleep. But you decided to swim against the current. I decided to keep it, to avoid it, to channel it. And now the transformation is not just in what you say, but also in what you radiate. You are no longer a reactive person, and she has become an active presence. She no longer needs to be accepted, because she has accepted herself. You have nothing left to prove. You've already proven yourself, and that changes other people's perceptions. Change the respect you receive. Change the type of women you attract, because your energy now chooses for you. You are no longer available for anything, not out of arrogance, but out of lucidity. You know the value of your energy, and you share it only with those who are on the same wavelength as you. This is true transmutation. It's not just about stopping masturbation. It's about rebuilding yourself like a temple, like a warrior, as a man, and everyone feels it. No need for the spotlight, because true brilliance comes from within, and true respect isn't earned. In the invisible realm where eyes cannot reach, but where souls recognize each other, outwardly, you have not changed. Your face is the same. Your body may still be far from ideal, but inside you've become a different person. When he walks now, he carries within him something invisible, but which everyone can feel. It is an authority that cannot be sold. It's a strength that doesn't shout, a firmness that doesn't fight. It's the kind of presence that is forged only in the fire of discipline and tempered by the steel of silence. We don't masturbate like we used to. And it's not just a change of habit. It's a shift in identity. You are no longer a slave to your impulses. You have become the master of your energy. And that's why the world is reacting differently today, because your vibration has changed. You've stopped producing the sound of lack, and you begin to radiate the frequency of fulfillment. You no longer seek to prove your worth. You carry it within you. And there's no need to prove it. We feel it, women feel it. Not a learned charm, but a contained fire. Not a learned gentleness, but a direct gaze. Not a voracious desire, but the silent attraction of an autonomous person. Carl Jung said, "Where there is power, there is no coercion. And where there is coercion, there is no power." You have chosen power. You've chosen the narrow path. You've decided to persevere, channel, and grow. And now you no longer need to chase anything. People approach you without knowing why. Doors open without you forcing them. You discover opportunities, because you've stopped hiding behind easy pleasures. Your new presence is invisible but impossible to ignore. And most importantly, you're no longer chasing women. You are building your inner kingdom, and whoever meets you on this path will find a man who is not there to be fulfilled, but to be filled. You have become a magnet, because before you were a hole, now you're a center. Solid, rooted, determined, and when the world feels this way, it bends, not because you demanded it, but because you embodied its essence. That's the energy they feel. And it is this energy that begins to change everything. Silent, deep, irrevocable,